So I just finished watching Lone or Lost Woods, whatever you want to call it, by a Halo follower, and it was something. It was like a SFM, or I think it's SFM animation that was being hyped up by different people, usual fanboys, but it was actually being looked upon when screenshots and footage was being released. Different people in the Halo community, especially those who are often critical of Chris's work, or Ron. You're always going to be Chris in my book, you can't escape that. They were actually kind of impressed with what was going on and saying that this was going to be a great Halo fan project. And the more and more I looked into it, it looked a little bit impressive, a little bit more of a step up from Gaming vs. Evil. I decided, maybe this was something worthwhile. Maybe this is actually something that Chris would produce that actually has some great production value to it. Maybe it's something that can actually break the mold and bring some more interest into Halo fan series. And I watched it. And, I kinda, sorta love it. I mean, not for the reason you're thinking, but I guess that's what I'm here to get into. If I were to accurately describe Lost Woods, is that it is a child's depiction of what they think would happen after a game, and what they think would be cool and epic and super serious. It's completely utter edgy, tonal whiplashing fanfiction, and it's oddly entertaining. Let's get the good aspects out of the way, because there's actually some good, well-produced production value out of this animation work. The voice actors that Chris brought on are actually pretty good and deliver some good lines. Sure, their performance may vary and varies from such, but I think that's more of a directional issue. The lighting and the use of color hues is especially... I love that stuff. When you have dark settings filled with a bunch of different light sources, especially that they're colored, it's very stylistic and very aesthetically looks good. Some of the animation work that he's done is pretty good. It's a bit of a step up from Gaming vs. Evil. And the music, well, some of it being part of the Halo Reach soundtrack, does match out with the game he's depicting the events after, and you're able to depict the same atmosphere that Reach is known for. There's some good compositional work with a lot of the sets. They're just some interesting sets, like especially this shot right here. You can definitely tell that there was a lot of thought and work put into this project. Unfortunately, that's not always apparent at times. Let's start in the most obvious, the animation. Well, I said the animation is good at times. It's also a little bit bad, somewhat bad, maybe a little bit. Okay, it's fucking terrible. Oh God, I I know Chris likes to mocap everything, and mocapping looks a little bit better than people who don't know how to, traditionally animate. But the issue is that you can't do mocap by yourself. The thing about mocapping is to give you a good reference point to build your animations around, and you're supposed to tweak the movements you already have to make them seem natural. I don't know what happened, but the way Chris mocapped his movements just look so awkward and exaggerated. Like, who in the world moves like this? I mean, some of it looks fine, other times it doesn't, other times it's so apparent that the characters are jerking their arms around, they're moving the extremely exaggerated movements, and... Oh God. Oh God. Oh. So the... Okay, I'm good. Okay. So the thing is that these movements, they seem more appropriate towards a comedy series, something more like Gaming vs. Evil. But in the context of being a serious drama that's supposed to be set within the same universe as Reach and applied with the same tone and atmosphere that game is known for, it seems extremely out of place to have this kind of animation work that's just so jerky, exaggerated. The weight doesn't feel right when characters are picking up stuff. They just move, and you can tell the misplacement from keyframes to keyframes. It looks so bizarre. I have no idea what happened, but to me, it looks like the mocap process was more like this. animation work is so exaggerated. It's so floaty, so jerky. So everything has to be constantly moving at times. There's no moment for brevity or just allow the characters to just move realistically, smoothly. It looks like there's jerking from one keyframe to the next. It looks like the characters are... It doesn't even look like they are clipping. This guy's helmet is clipping through his chest. There are several moments where this happens. It looks like characters aren't even moving their limbs when they're supposed to be. It's so weird. I mean, Quiz went through all the effort of getting the equipment to do mocap in SFM, and still, it looks just as bad. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's weird to just see all these characters in a serious drama just move and act this way. It's oddly entertaining. What wasn't entertaining was the story, which seems a bit of a downgrade from Gaming vs. Evil. I mean, that show's concept is completely bizarre, out there, wildness, and eccentric. It oddly seems endearing and funny, but here, it just seems like typical fanfiction. I don't remember any of the characters' names, I don't remember any specific moments besides their jerky animation work and their very out-of-touch lines. Other than that, I don't remember the characters' names, I don't know why they were there, what was going on, but if I didn't have the context of Reach, if I didn't know this was a Reach fan series, I wouldn't know what was going on. I don't know who any of these people are, I don't have any connection towards them, I don't feel why I should care that the Spartans are in this situation or why this guy's friend is wounded. I don't feel anything. There's no emotional attachment to it. I know what Chris is trying to go for. He's trying to make a serious fan series that's supposed to be a proper sequel to Reach and have the same tone of that game. But it starts off as this somber, atmospheric drama that then escalates into a Marvel-esque fight scene with dialogue that sounds corny and sarcastic. It's so out of place.
I never realized how stupid you guys sound. Shit. I have that back. You're pissed, aren't you? Yeah? Well, I'm pissed too! I know this looks easy, but it's not!
One minute the characters are acting like they're in a war drama and talk with dialogue that's more realistic-ish. It's still not, but it's kind of trying to emulate that. And in the next moment, they're pulling off one-liners while doing backflips and fighting a hunter for some reason. Don't get me wrong, this kind of tonal whiplash can be achieved quite effectively. We've seen it in the Resident Evil, Halo, Metal Gear games, we've seen it in the Marvel movies, especially in Guardians of the Galaxy. But here, it lacks the charm, the sort of cheeky self-awareness that are present within these works. It doesn't have the cool factor to make these scenes seem epic or something like that. I don't fucking know. You just can't take the story seriously or make a proper connection to its characters. This is even apparent in its other aspects of production. The set design, I'd say it's really on point. It really looks something that's straight out of Reach. It matches the atmosphere and aesthetic of Reach, hands down. Has some gorgeous looking shots and some really nice use of colored lighting. It's something I really dig, and it's used really effectively here to bring up that somber tone. It really sells this setting, and the cinematography, well, can produce some really good compositional work, can really bring out some great shots. At times feels really shaky, wobbly, jerky, so in your face. I know what Chris is going for. He's going for a Kojima-esque style sort of camera work, but it doesn't have the same flair, the same techniques, the same sort of planning that goes into Kojima's work whenever he does action scenes, or whether he makes the decision to have these long, winding shots, or to have flat, still composition. And Kojima is able to nail down the look of having a wobbly handycam and not make it seem so aggressive, which unfortunately Lost Wolves just looks like someone who's drunkenly holding the camera at all times. It has to be shaky at all times. You don't need to do that. You can have variety within your work. You need to know when to hold yourself back. And while I did say the lighting looks great, in the last couple of scenes, it seems to shit itself with not having enough light source, to being so dark that you can't see the main antagonist's face. I can't even see this brute. Is it a brute? Is it an elite? I don't know, I can't fucking tell. The actors feel appropriately cast, and they deliver lines that are appropriate for the scene that they're in, for what they're depicting their character doing. They nail it down effectively. while at others, they seem to be giving performances that, while good, don't fit what's actually happening in the scene. Like, you have this character right here who's supposed to be sound caring, sort of in distress over his friend dying. Just sounds sort of laid back while the other character is in distress.
You've lost a lot of blood. Lay back.
All I remember was how it boomed.
Let's get to medbay. There will be something there.
Sam. Sam! What happened?
And it happens a few seconds later where that character now sounds really laid back when he should be in distress that his friend is fighting this hunter.
I'm out. Do you have a gun?
I don't. Just get out of here, Sam.
The mixing is also all over the place. You have characters who sound really close to each other, who sound very loud, while other times they sound really quiet and you can't actually make out what they're saying. Their volume is either uneven or they're just drowned out by ambience or music. It's not very good sound mixing.
This doesn't make any sense. They should be all over us.
Sam? I'm still kicking.
Glenn, what's your location?
The hangar? Hangar, I think.
Hang tight. Making my way there now. Not important right now. We need to get you patched up. Find the rest of Jeddah.
My radar. See it friendly.
Chris obviously put a lot more effort, a lot more work, put a lot more people onto this project than he has with his other works, and it shows. There's a lot more production value, there's an increase in quality, and you can see that he actually wants to create something that can be seriously taken by the community, a fan project that's actually good. Unfortunately, that doesn't end up like that, and essentially what he made was basically Gaming vs. Evil 2, just one that's less controversial. Is it bad? Yeah, it's pretty bad. Should you watch it? Yes. Despite every negative thing I said, this has got to be the most well-produced garbage I have ever seen that transcends from being so bad. It's oddly entertaining. It is funny. It's hilarious. It's so endearing to watch. This animation had me laughing all throughout and left me in tears near the end. It is a must-watch from me. I highly recommend you check this one out. Maybe not for the reasons Chris wants, but good reasons nonetheless. It's still something that can produce entertainment value. It's more on the lines of Old Man 2 or Halos in space.
But Grumpy, this is an amateur fan-made series. You can't judge it by studio-level metrics. Think of the other internet series out there that is made full of fun. You can't criticize this.
And by what standards do you think I've been judging this by this whole time? Internet animations have come a long way, and they're even coming to a point of quality where they are even about to rival studio-made animations. And even if I listen to scope to Halo SFM animations, there's still a lot of creators who have risen the bar for what SFM can do, and they create some really good high-quality stuff out there, and they have set a bar that really, Chris hasn't really gotten to that point yet. Don't get me wrong, he's made such improvements, and he's getting to that level, just not there. He has a bunch of highs, but he also has a bunch of lows in his production, especially when you're thinking about opening a Patreon for this.
So the way I see it, Chris can either do one of two things. He can either take the criticisms people have, accept feedback, which he's actually encouraging you do, go take that survey if you actually want to see this blossom to a serious thing, or he can take it into the better, more recognizable way and just embrace the meme, increase the exaggeration, increase the bizarre story, make it so we can actually care about these characters and find them endearing and charming, make the dialogue more excessive, have more tonal whiplash, have more just incredibly out there moments. Make Gaming vs. Evil 2. I was having a pretty exhausting day today. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't feel like making anything until I watched Lost Wolves. It gave me a laugh I hadn't had in a long time. I loved it. I'm looking forward to the next episode, and it's giving me a lot of creative energy, which is weird. Chris actually did something that's positive for once that I enjoy. So, thank you for that. I'm looking forward to the next episode, and you should too. Till next time.
It's so cold in here, I want to kill myself.